Devereaux!
I'm Mr. Devereaux.
What's that humming mean?
Beethoven's Fifth.
I never said I was more than I am.
Welcome everyone to episode 56 of Kiss Meets the Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Eli Clausen.
And I'm Super Mario.
And I'm Luigi.
I think every week I end up laughing in the intro like that. It's like a thing now. I can't help it. Oh man, so not a lot of huge stuff going on, but there are a few, notable topics to kind of go over with the Kiss world. The Vault, the experience has officially started now, so people do own them now. There was the big event the other night. Julian Gill from the Kiss FAQ, he was there. He bought it. If you guys, little plug, check out the Kiss My Collectibles podcast. Julian was on there talking all about the experience. He showed his vault, even what his surprise personally owned Gene item was. So it's pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean. So what I understand is, I could be wrong, but so basically that one designated place, which I believe was Capitol Records building, and pretty much everybody that bought the vault that was in that area, or at least chose that location, were all there at the same time. So there was a lot of people pretty much all in the same room. Of course, I'm sure they stood in line, and I don't know how much personal time they got with Gene. But then, lo and behold, Ace Frehley shows up, and Bruce Kulick's there with his wife, and Eric Singer shows up. Nobody expected that. Ace, of course, was goofing around with Gene and messing around with the vault and everything, and they did sit down and do a couple songs. They messed around with Sympathy for the Devil. What was the one? I forgot what it was. They did a little bit of Naked City. But the other Kiss song, I want to say it was Parasite, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I watched.
Yeah. So, I mean, that right there sounded like, almost an experience worth more than what it cost for the vault itself, to like a whole, another thing that you weren't even expecting, a total surprise, and get to meet Ace at the same time, and Bruce, Eric,
that's almost the whole Kiss band right there in one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, heck, if Paul was there, that'd be a revenge reunion. But then you got Ace too, almost an unplugged reunion. But, kind of interesting. It's like, who knows what could happen, man. As much as Gene keeps, and I'm not saying Ace being in Kiss, but I'm saying more of them maybe doing another, like, side project or something. Have Gene, Bruce, Ace, and Eric, the four of them, do something on the side.
That'd be cool.
Because I was watching I assume it was a fairly recent interview with Paul, and he said in that interview, he said he's probably the one that's the hardest to talk into touring now. Like, he has no problem sitting at home. He enjoys it. He likes being with the family, doing his artwork, all that stuff. So he's the one that they pretty much have to convince that it's worth to go on tour, and then once they do, then obviously he gives 110% for the whole tour. But I was a little surprised to hear that, because I assume Paul would be right up, gung ho as Gene is, or whoever else, and ready to go out on a moment's notice. But I guess at this point it's like you got to convince him to go out. So that's why I was thinking, well, maybe the four of those guys without Paul, maybe they could start something up. I mean, you never know what kind of stuff could happen with these little crazy things that happen like that. I mean, we already know Ace and Gene worked on some songs, so hopefully we'll hear that stuff this year. But I don't know. I mean,
the version of Kiss with Ace and Eric was always, didn't you say, your favorite one?
Yeah, I loved that lineup.
So
but
that's what we had there.
Right. And if that were to go on tour, but like I said, if Paul didn't want to do it, as Kiss or whatever, fine. Have those four with Bruce and Ace both on guitar. Then now, I'm sorry, but that would be yeah.
Oh, Gene's already done that with his solo band, so he could have those guys instead of everyone that was in his solo band, pretty much,
right.
And just do the same set list or whatever.
Exactly. I mean,
now that he's got that practice, of being a front man by himself without Paul, it almost frees him up to maybe do something like that.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Because I don't think he had the want to or the experience. Because Paul's done solo tours, and that Gene up to that point had never done one, right?
Right. Yeah, it's still crazy to me that all these years that he had never done a solo tour.
Yeah.
And you would kind of think, as much as he loves the attention and everything else, you figured he would have been the first one to do a solo tour. But I don't know. Maybe if Asshole had sold better, he would have done a tour.
So who was the first one? Was that Ace probably? Or was Peter doing tours before that? Did Peter even tour, though? I don't know if he got a band together long enough to do a tour, did he?
Right.
That's a good one.
Because he released, what was it, Out of Control before Ace even left Kiss. So yeah, did he tour that album? I don't know.
See, I'm thinking he didn't. I
know
could
the
be
record
wrong.
label. The record label, it was still Casablanca, right? And they didn't push, they didn't advertise, they didn't do anything because I guess there was a secret agenda from what I read where they were trying to forget the album. It wasn't their priority, put it that way.
I mean, looking at where Kiss was at that time, we're looking at the Unmasked era, so things were starting to get a little confusing for the band. So maybe, there was probably that little bit of a thought like, hey, we don't want to take a chance of Peter Criss outselling Kiss when he just left the band. So we're not going to promote that as much, so we'll push.
I don't think he toured for, like, the next album. What was the next one after that?
See, I'm
Q, I think.
What's that?
Yeah, that was it.
I'm not gonna lie, I only knew that because I happened to be looking at the Out of Control Wikipedia page.
Yeah, when it comes to Peter's solo stuff, I'm all mixed up on what the order was and all that. And
Chris Cat, I don't know if he toured for that. I know he did shows for that. I don't know what's considered a tour, I guess. How many shows does it have to be before it's a tour?
Well, which album did he release around 95 or at least close to that?
That was Cat #1, wasn't it?
So then, because that's when him and Ace were doing that tour together, so that's
right.
So I guess you could say he toured for that. But yeah, I don't. As far as I know,
did, probably 3 tours before there.
Right, that may have been the first solo tour Peter ever did. Actually, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I don't recall hearing or seeing anything about a Peter Criss solo tour prior to that. And then Ace, of course, he definitely started a lot earlier, like.
Well,
what was it, 84 or something?
When I hadn't heard anything about Peter Criss doing anything. Now, granted, I was a lot younger, so I wasn't, maybe, I don't know, if they wouldn't have been on MTV or nothing like that probably anyway, but it was before that even. Until he showed up on Phil Donahue, that's the first time it's like, oh, it's Peter Criss. It's like, who? He's got blonde hair. Who's that?
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know anything about him. I totally forgot about Peter Criss at that point. As far as being current, anything current.
Like even
that was.
Like even the Unplugged thing. Like I don't have a memory of seeing Peter either. Like any time soon, recent to that. And then he comes out and I'm like, that's Peter? He's got blondish hair and, like, okay. I was like, well, he still sounds like Peter at least, so. But, yeah.
According to the book, I think he was so maybe strung out that he wasn't together enough to really, be coherent to do anything.
Yeah. And then,
well, is it the first line of his book? Something about he has a gun and he's going to pull the trigger or something rather. I don't know how it's worded, but that's how the book opens, right?
yeah, he was.
I don't know what year that was.
Yeah, he was like on the verge of ending it all, and then he had that fire in his apartment or something like that, and that kind of woke him up and changed his ideas on things, and then later there was another part later on where like he had gotten beat up or something or jumped by somebody, and he was all messed up, and he got to that point again, but then I guess right after that's when he met his current wife, what's her name? Gigi?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then she, kind of turned him around, but then of course, obviously she started, putting venom in his head, and, especially once the Kiss thing got back together, and, he started becoming the old Peter again, as according to what they said, and he even admits himself in the book, so, yeah.
I think Paul's book is really interesting because when he wrote his book, he's even saying stuff about Gene that we didn't know, details of. But as far as Peter and Ace, he doesn't hold back on the stuff he says. Now, a lot of people could agree or disagree, depending. But I don't think Paul's one to lie for no reason.
Right. And I'm glad he wrote the book when he did, because if he had wrote it, say, the 80s or 90s, I think it would have been a little different. He probably wouldn't have said as much about Gene, and, because it was still a little more, let's make it look this way instead of being real. And at this point, he's, like I said, he's comfortable now. It's like I guess to him it doesn't matter if they tore or not. So it's like, hey, I'm not afraid to speak the truth now about what I thought of this or what's going on now or anything. So I am glad that he wrote it at that point. From what I understand, he's working on a follow-up as well. So, we're looking at what Paul, Ace, I don't know if anybody else is doing another book or anything. I know Tommy's doing that children's book that's coming out.
That would be an interesting one to see kind of his background leading up to the point that he joined. And Bruce, too. I would like to see a book from Bruce.
Yes, Bruce would be awesome. I guarantee Bruce wouldn't pull any punches at this point either. Because you see that in interviews that he does. He's really not afraid to straight up, this is how it is.
Yeah.
Same with Eric Singer. If the day we've talked about, if the day ever comes that Eric and Tommy are able to write a book like that, those would be two books that I would be very interested in reading. I'd probably skip past all the growing up crap, all that stuff they always put in there. I'd want to jump right into what was leading up to being in Kiss and what kind of stuff went on that you weren't able to talk about all these years.
I always thought it was really interesting. I don't know which. I think it's not Kiss Exposed. I think it's Extreme Close-Up, where Eric is talking about being at a show in Cleveland on Kiss's first tour. I think he said it was 74 or 75, and he's up there in the balcony and he gets thrown out, so you don't get to see the New York Dolls. Yes, they were opening for New York Dolls, and to think about how far back that was. And he's at a Kiss show, and then fast forward to, what was it, 90, when did he first join in the 90s? Was it 92, 91?
90, 91, somewhere around there.
So it's like, that's really interesting to think about. And I'm sure Tommy has a similar story in some ways.
Yeah, I just couldn't imagine, I've said before, it's like if either one of us were all of a sudden, had the opportunity to go try out for Kiss or whatever, or asked to be, it's like, never would have thought in a million years, being a huge fan all my life, all of our lives, and all that stuff. You know.
Just put it this way: if any of us get asked to be in Kiss, don't wear an Iron Maiden t-shirt.
Just the underwear, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like winning the lottery is the way I look at it. I mean, I can imagine Tommy feeling the same way. You're in a Kiss tribute band. That part of that is kind of that dream that goes with that. Is like, man, what if I had the chance to actually be in Kiss one day? From doing this, and then look, it happened to him. It's like, it's crazy.
I think that, and I've said before that I like the current lineup. I've never had a problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why it's as good as it is. Not just because they're good musicians, but because they came from that. And I've said that before. They have that fan perspective, which also gives Kiss something that they wouldn't have had, as a current lineup as far as the Kiss cruise. I don't know. I mean, say if Ace and Peter was still in the band up to this point, would they have ever done a Kiss cruise? And if they did, would they be able to play just anything? I don't think they would ever be able to do that.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
time like on the farewell tour playing like Heaven's on Fire and some of that stuff, I think.
Right. I mean, people might like it or not, but you kind of got to give a good, 15 to 25% credit to Tommy for that even happening. Because if it wasn't for him reteaching Ace all the parts and everything, that reunion would not have happened.
No.
They would have had to just
because Paul and Gene wasn't going to do it.
Right. And they would have had to completely last minute, either bring Bruce back or who knows. Tommy could have joined the band back then. Who knows? I mean,
that's a good what if kind of question. It's almost like Bruce had said in interviews that they never asked him to rejoin, and he was glad that they didn't. I'm sure he probably would have, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, if that had never happened with Tommy, teaching Ace, I mean, who would they have got to do it, or would they even? I mean, that could have went a lot of different ways.
I mean, with Tommy, it's like, there was so much there, that he. It was like he was the library of the Kiss stuff when it came to Ace. It was like Ace pretty much had little to none memorized. Tommy's like, oh yeah, it was this is what you did. It's kind of weird, like you're sitting with the guy that wrote the song in the first place. No, here's what you did. No, you did this. It went like this.
Well, that's weird enough, the fact that Tommy was already working for the band behind the scenes and just happened to be a guitar player.
Yeah.
And just happened to be a fan of Ace and was in a tribute band playing Ace and all that. So all that is weird enough, but then, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that he also had to help Peter learn some of his stuff too.
I believe so.
Yeah, it seems like I'd heard that. So, I mean, I don't even know how he would go about that because he's not a drummer.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I don't know that I've heard any stories if they brought anybody to help Peter, like say Kevin Valentine or even Anton Fig or something. I don't know. Or maybe Peter, at the time he was, really gung-ho and on board with everything. So maybe he did take the time to do lessons again and, practice on his own time.
You would think that they would have sort of got Eric Singer to do that.
Yeah.
I never heard that they've ever mentioned him, in that conversation.
With Bruce, I think the reason they never asked him, I mean, it makes sense because he wasn't around during the makeup era, so at the time, it'd be weird to bring him in and put him in that makeup when he wasn't originally. I think that's the big reason with that. If they were to do another Unmasked reunion, I could easily see Bruce coming back.
He actually talked about that. It's strange. Just yesterday I watched I guess it was a podcast. It was on YouTube, but there wasn't video. It was just audio. And the title of the video itself was, Bruce Kulick on why he's not in Kiss right now. And that was the question that was asked of him. And that's more or less what he said, is that he's pretty sure that he wasn't asked because they had Tommy on hand that they knew could do exactly what they needed for what they were trying to do, whereas Bruce would have had to sort of step down and, as he put it, kind of piss on his own legacy, since he had already been in the band as himself.
Exactly.
Whereas Eric Singer, he was, but not for near as long a time as Bruce. But he also speculated that if Tommy hadn't been a part of the equation at all, he thinks that they may have considered kind of picking up where Revenge and Carnival of Souls left off, since they already had Eric there.
That would have been cool. I could see that. And that makes, great sense, because Bruce was in the band, up until Tommy now was in the band longer than any of the other guys. And, I don't know if people would agree or disagree with this either, but to me, Bruce is just as important as Ace always was, in my opinion. I mean,
Absolutely.
You look at how long he was in the band, all the albums he contributed to, the classic solos that he played on a lot of those songs, all the different tours, you name it.
Well, that's like, that video I posted on our page on Facebook today. Someone asked Paul why that they don't do any songs from the Revenge era. And I hadn't even thought about that until I ran across that video. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
When is the last time that they played a song from Revenge? I can't even... Unholy was on that DVD, but other than that...
Rock the Nation.
Yeah.
And even that was what? At least 10 years now or longer,
Yeah.
So he said there's really no reason. If you watch the video, that's what he says. There's really no reason. He says it's just like people decide what's the popular songs and what they want to hear. And, he says... And then when he said that, I'm thinking, but there's every song on there, or at least I'd say over half of those songs are something that people want to hear. So I don't understand.
Well, I think if they really did a true fan vote set list, that you would see quite a few songs from Revenge on that set.
Right.
That's the easiest way to put it, I guess.
Yeah.
But until they ever do an actual fan voted set list for real, probably won't.
Yeah.
Well, I just wonder if it's because, I know they tune things down a little bit for Paul's voice and stuff, but a lot of that stuff in the 80s and all the way up through Revenge and a little bit past Revenge, it's probably hard to sing a lot of that. Even for Gene, like Unholy, he can't hit some of those notes, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Definitely, that's definitely the case too. But there's ways to make it work. They already do that with a lot of the classic stuff that they play now. There's ways around it.
Well, if they were going to pick, say if, like you said, a fan vote, which would be great, for a set list, what would be the one song that you guys would want to hear from that album? If you could just pick one, I'd have a hard time.
Right now, I'd probably have to say Domino. Just to hear them play it again, especially Eric, and
Yeah.
it'd just be nice to hear that live again after all these years.
I think I'd probably go with Heart of Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Paul had mentioned that in that video. He'd mentioned Heart of Chrome. He said that's a good song. So, I don't know. I just wanna, because I'd seen him do that live.
Yeah.
And I really liked the live version of that. But Take It Off was another one that's really good live.
Yeah.
And see, the reason I didn't say Take It Off is because there's no way that they would do it live the way they used to do it.
No.
Not these days, and where the band's at.
No, I think Tommy's the only single one now, right?
He's married too, isn't he? I thought.
Well, he got a divorce.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if he remarried or not.
And Eric's married? I was never too sure about that.
I'm not sure about him, really.
So I figured it was his girlfriend at least, but I didn't think they were married or anything. And I'm pretty sure he has a kid.
Does
Yeah.
I think.
Either way, I always laugh watching that the video. I think it's on Extreme Close Up or something like that, where it's the concert, the Alive 3 concert, but they actually put the Alive 3 audio rather than the actual audio, and you can just see when they play Take It Off, Bruce is staying far away from all of those. He'll never want to see it.
Yeah, I bet that made him very uncomfortable.
Yeah, he's. I don't know. Even the times that you see him kind of stand in front of Eric's kit, looking at him, he seems like he's sort of not paying attention too at times.
Yeah.
Like they show that one backstage clip. You know, I'm not shy. So, I don't know. Was there anything else to touch on with that vault thing? I mean, like I say, it's underway now. People are getting them. You know, later this month, the one in Detroit's coming.
We know the set list now, or the song list.
Yes, yeah, they finally released the... I didn't even realize there was a bonus disc on top of the 10 CDs. I mean, there's a bonus disc too.
Aren't they kind of all bonus discs?
Right, right. And,
I was amazed how much actual Kiss songs is on a lot of those.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I want to hear the... I noticed Charisma is on there, like, I'm assuming demo. I want to hear that. Obviously the Van Halen stuff. I mean, so much cool stuff will be on there. I'm curious to hear the In Your Face, the Gene version, and see how much Ace did change it.
Well, I'd seen an article recently, and I don't know if I believe this or not because it's coming from Gene, but he said that they only made so many, and they're not going to be sold in stores, and once they're gone, they're gone. So I don't know how much of that I believe, but it's possible, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm trying to be hopeful that it's just another Gene saying this, and then it ends up being the other way. At least I hope. Because to me, it would make sense to release a more affordable, scaled-down version. Then you're going to sell twice as many more than what you already sold now.
Right.
And it just seems like the obvious choice. And I think they should have even went as far for the vault now. They should have done the CD and vinyl. You should have been able to get a choice.
Right. I think he's just so hardcore banking on the fact that if people really want it, they're going to find a way to pay that huge amount of money, which,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't think so. It's not worth it to me, for sure, although I'd really love to hear that stuff.
Right. I mean, everybody talks about, it's just get a big group of friends together and everybody pitches in this much and there you go. It's like, it's not really that easy depending on, who you are or who you know. And then it's like, okay, well, who gets the actual vault or the stuff?
Right.
Well, it's not like if I had nothing else I needed to spend money on, and I'm not talking about bills specifically, but if I just cut everything, okay, I'm not doing anything else the rest of the year because I want to buy this Gene Simmons vault. That's what I would have to do.
Right. And then
to buy it.
And at the beginning of this year, on top of that, to be able to say that would be, it would have to be important and worth it,
Because I would have to take all my tax check and save a bunch of money on top of that and do without everything. And to me, it's not, that's just not practical.
Yeah. And then, come June, the thing might have already been leaked out. And then you can go meet Gene for a lot less money in Indianapolis in June. So,
Yep.
Hey.
Well, it's like you said not too long ago. I just want the CDs. I don't care about all the rest of it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, meeting Gene would be awesome and all that stuff, especially, seeing some of the video of what happened, in this first experience, whatever. But I don't know. It's just me. I'm not really about that. I'd just rather hear the CDs.
I agree. I mean, if, something like that were to happen, I would be like, I don't care about the vault thing. You guys can all divvy up and decide who's going to get what piece. Just let me take the disc home, put them in my CD burner, and copy them to the computer. That's all I want.
Well, and it's like with this stuff when Ace and everybody showed up, you're not guaranteed that every time because no one even knew that was going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
That's probably never going to happen again.
And from what I understand, they're expecting more people at the Detroit one that's coming up than what was at L.A. So hard telling. I mean,
so it's basically Gene gives where he's going to be generally here, this date, and if you want the vault, then you and whoever that's paying for it or is getting the experience shows up, like you said, and probably stands in line. It's like a concert type of thing, right?
right.
Or like an expo type of thing, but it just happens to be the Gene Simmons vault.
Right. What I understand, when you place your order, you pick which date would be the one that you would want to do, like whatever's closest to you, or wherever. Say if we had done it and we chose the LA, we would have been responsible, of course, for our own plane tickets or whatever to get out there. But they got the one up in Detroit, which is not that bad of a drive, but then they also added a Cleveland one, so that's even closer. So, but from what I understand, you basically pick which date you want, and then they contact you with the time. But from what I understand, like the LA one, it lasted from about 1 to about 7 o'clock, so it wasn't like a real kind of short thing. But again, I mean, I know if you want the full private thing, you got to do the one where he comes to your house. But I just wonder how much time each person got, once they got up there, getting some things signed and, whatever the case may be.
It seems like it would almost be like a regular meet and greet.
Right. Like they probably give you, a few minutes, you get it signed, say a few things to them if you get a chance, and I don't know, they probably do a photo, and then it's probably move on. Someone was saying, I guess one of the people in front of them, their surprise thing in the vault was one of Gene's guitar straps. And I guess as soon as they pulled that out, Gene grabbed it and signed it for him, and right then and there, and just crazy things like that, little extras on top of everything. I'll bet you $5 when he's at that Days of the Dead thing in June, he'll have a vault there with him. He'll still be pumping them at that point.
I can't see him passing up the opportunity.
Right. He'll be like, buy one right now for $1,900. Well, I wish.
Yeah.
Like Gene, can you just play the songs? Let me record them on my phone or something. That's all I want. But I am going to kind of start peeking around now that people own them to see if it does get leaked anytime soon, if at all.
Right.
I don't see how that it couldn't, because if you go to YouTube, for example, and you type in like some obscure band, whatever, even if the audio isn't up from like an official page of the band, there's all kinds of other ones that it's either live or it's the record or it's this or that.
Right.
I don't know how you can control that anymore.
True. And hey, like I said before, if I have to go that route just to hear the music, okay, but if it did get to the point where they decide to put it on iTunes or release an affordable just CD version, I will buy it. I will buy it. So I do want to support it, and I would want the physical version of it one way or another. You know, because I'm sure it would still include like a book at least or something, I would hope.
Yeah, like, well, when the Kiss box set came out, I didn't hesitate to go get that.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
it was at the time, but I didn't care how much it was. I mean, of course, if it was like $500 or something, I wouldn't have got it because
Right.
I wouldn't have been able to afford it. But if they just put out something that's similar to like the standard Kiss box set that came out, I mean,
Yeah, I was there the day it came out at the mall. I remember, and again with that, you know, there were a couple different versions. They had the one that looked like a guitar case, and you know that was a little more expensive. And then there was another one that came with, I think it came with like a gold record, you know, signed and all that stuff. And so you know, even then you kind of had those higher options. I just went for the basic, and that's all I want with this. You know, I went for the basic one that came with the CDs and the book, and I was over the moon with the kind of stuff that was on there at the time that I had never heard before. And then the book, it was a great read too, you know, just hearing a lot of the insight on, you know, the writing of the song or whatever, and you know, some cool pictures and stuff in there, you know, all that.
well, I'd heard some people give it some like negative reviews of saying, well, it's just like a greatest hits. It's like, well, not really, because I mean, I know they were trying to represent, you know, the best tracks from a lot of from almost all the albums, but that whole first disc, I don't think I'd heard anything on there.
No. And then even like the stuff from the albums, they sounded better than the CDs that were out there already, because they had
They mastered them again.
yeah. Like I remember I remember the first time I listened to Rock and Roll All Night on disc 1 versus how it sounded on the Dress to Kill CD. I'm like, oh my god, it's like so much louder and clearer, and it sounds awesome.
The one I noticed the most was Forever,
Oh yeah,
compared to the Hot in the Shade version. It's like that's like not even not even a comparison.
right. And again, it's that whole thing. Why did they not do that to the whole album and release it that way? I don't get it. You know, it's another one of those unknown things.
Well, I'm going to pause for a minute, and I'm going to feed the snufflehead.
All right.
Ouch! Blowing up. I'll be back. I'll be back if I don't kill him first. Come on.
The Catman got you.
Yeah, he did.
So I don't know. This is kind of the other ridiculous thing that happened is that recent. I guess it was a recent show that Kiss did overseas, and the guy interviewing them backstage showed up. You know, he's wearing an Iron Maiden shirt, and of course they made a big deal about it. You know, basically made the guy take the shirt off. Like literally, he standing there with no shirt on, doing the interview, all this crap, and you know they was giving him hell about it, and their excuse, or I think Eric was saying, you know, oh, you're not going to go to your favorite football team's game and wear a whole different team's jersey, you know, that kind of thing. That's how they look at it.
Well, my thing is, and I know if you go to a Kiss concert, more than likely, at least I do a lot of times, we'll buy a shirt at the concert. And there's been times where automatically I just will be wearing a Kiss shirt already.
Right.
Just carry the other one with me all night or put it on over the one I have on. But because I know everybody and their brother is going to be wearing a Kiss shirt, a lot of times, the past few times I've seen Kiss, I've intentionally wore something else. You know, just to be different, not for any other reason. But if you're a fan of music, you're obviously going to like more than just the band that you're at the concert of currently. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know if I agree with that or not. I mean, I understand where they were coming from, but I think, I don't know. I mean, it seems sort of odd to me.
Yeah, I kind of get it, and I think the main thing is it comes down to that's competition is what it is. because Iron Maiden's a still very active band. You know, they got a huge following too, and I could see them looking at it as competition. But if you were to walk in there wearing like a Beatles shirt or some older band that isn't around really anymore, it'd be a whole nother story. I bet you.
Probably.
They'd probably start having a conversation. Oh yeah, this album or that album.
Yeah, you're probably right. I never thought about that, but yeah, that's probably what it is, or it could be that's what it is.
But you walk in there wearing Iron Maiden, no matter what, Iron Maiden, Priest, whoever, if it's still an active, big band that has a huge following. Because not that I would be like offended if I were the band, but I would. It would be a little bit of a weird feeling, like,
yeah,
you're here for us, but you're wearing the Iron Maiden shirt. That must mean you like Iron Maiden a lot more. Just
right.
wearing a shirt. I mean, it's just a shirt, but.
Well, was he working for like a newspaper or what? I didn't catch who he was working for, if he was a fan or what. I didn't catch that part.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either. I think he was just doing like an internet radio show or, something like that. Recording the audio for an interview. I mean, it looked like they did it during the meet and greet anyway, because they were all in full costume and makeup, standing in front of that backdrop that they always use. But it's just kind of ridiculous, and then of course you get people blowing it out of proportion. The people that love to talk about Eric and Tommy, or you're talking about such and such wearing somebody else's thing, and look at what you're doing. It's like, oh God,
anything to be mad about.
Yeah, you got to turn into something.
Yeah, that's sort of how I looked at the whole thing, was just that, yeah, if I had been that interviewer, I definitely would have been in a Kiss shirt, because I agree with what they said. But then again, yeah, it does feel like it was a little bit too much to react the way they did. It was like, man, I don't know if it was necessary to make that big a deal out of it, but yeah, they were right,
Yeah, I mean, to make him take the shirt off, I mean,
yeah,
especially if it was a guy like me, like I would have been pretty damn uncomfortable at that moment. If they tried to make me stand there with no shirt on.
I wouldn't have done the interview. I'd have walked away. I mean, again, you wouldn't have been stupid enough to wear a different shirt, but I mean, if I had been that guy, I'd have been like, you know what, forget about it.
Or like, put some duct tape over it if you didn't like the look, put it over the logo, or at least make him turn the shirt inside out, or your Kiss, you got all that merch, just call somebody over, throw me a Kiss shirt, and then put it over him or something.
Yeah,
I think they did give him a shirt there towards the end.
Now I do recall Gene doing sort of that same type of thing at the expo when he was there. Not to the point of them taking off the shirt, but if they weren't wearing a Kiss shirt, he would start giving them shit. And, kind of grilling them like, what are you doing coming here to see me and you're wearing, such and such shirt? I heard him doing that to people that were already up there while I was standing in line. I mean, so, they're real big on that, especially if you're getting a photo with them. You better be wearing a Kiss shirt, or if, or no band shirt if it isn't a Kiss shirt.
Well, I wonder how they would react if it was like an old Kiss picture with Ace and Peter, or I mean, I wonder if that matters to them or not.
Or like a Vinny shirt.
Right. I mean, because I'd said a while before the Guns N' Roses thing, when it was just Axl, he wouldn't let people in the venue with if they had a Slash shirt on or a top hat or anything. They wouldn't allow them in. Which it's like, okay.
That stuff's just insane. That's like dictatorship type stuff, I mean, come on. It's just a piece of clothing, and if you preferred that version of the band, hey, that's fine, but guess what? He's still there to see the band the way they are now, so...
Well, I wouldn't imagine that Kiss would have a problem with it, because, I'd said recently we'd seen those shirts on Kiss Online with the album covers, and different lineups played on the albums, and they know that, of course. So if you're wearing like the Elder, or I don't know, I don't remember what shirts there were now, but as long as it has the Kiss logo on it, I guess you're okay.
Right. And now they got the Kiss toilet seats with those same album covers. And
Yeah, and if you're wearing one of them around your neck when you go to meet them, then you're okay.
that would be interesting. Show up to the meet and greet with one of those toilet seats over your. I could just imagine how they'd look at you.
Yeah.
Show up with an Iron Maiden toilet plunger or something.
Well, and that's funny because Iron Maiden is probably one of the few bands that has, I won't say they have nearly as much merchandise as Kiss, but a lot of bands don't have a lot of merchandise. I think Iron Maiden's probably one of the few that might have more than, I don't know, maybe Metallica, Iron Maiden. Not too many more has a lot of merch, would think.
Now, watch, when Gene's at Days of the Dead in June, there's going to be so many people not wearing Kiss shirts because that's the nature of those conventions. You're going to have people wearing horror shirts or plenty of other band shirts, and what's he going to do? Sit there and nitpick all of them and grill them all? And
I wouldn't think so, being that that's not a Kiss event, at least.
Right. Have a bunch of them. You'd see a bunch of people walking around with no shirt on because Gene told them to take it off.
That'd be awesome.
But see, at the same time, Gene being a big horror buff, I'd be interested to see, what he thinks of that sort of convention, and if he tries to walk around and look at stuff himself. I don't know.
I would like to see Gene at the horror convention dressed like everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, I get tired of seeing him wearing that suit all the time. It's like, that's all you see Gene in anymore, if it ain't the costume. What happened?
Has he ever worn a T-shirt? I don't remember ever seeing him wear just a T-shirt, except for like maybe back in the early 70s. Now that we've seen some of those pictures without makeup, but we didn't see him at the time.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, Revenge was probably the last time. I mean, during the reunion or so, he would wear like that kind of Gene-looking shirt, stuff like that.
Right.
He don't even do that anymore. It's just every time you see him now, it's that same kind of suit with the, the handkerchief thing.
Yeah. Makes you wonder, though, because that does seem like a strange picture in your head. If Gene nowadays just settles down in a pair of jeans and a T-shirt, what in the world's on the shirt? I'm curious. Just
right.
Not because I nitpick him because of this whole thing that happened. I'm just curious, what kind of shirts does Gene freaking Simmons have in his wardrobe?
Right.
It's probably literally just a whole bunch of the same suits.
Yeah.
Well, on Family Jewels, he always wore that red onesie to sleep in. I just wonder if that's real or not.
Right. But, it's such a night and day. Like, I could see, like, if you met him back during, like, the Revenge era when he was still dressing, pretty much like a rock star. It's like, yeah, it's Gene, but now it's like you feel like you're standing next to a businessman more than the demon of Kiss, and that those two are so far apart now. That character and him.
Paul doesn't really dress too much different than he did then.
Yeah,
unless it's a special event. I mean,
yeah, Paul still dresses a little rock starish in a way. I mean, he's not all suit and tie or whatever, but Tommy and Eric, for that matter, Eric dresses real casual. He's at the expo, just wearing like a plain black shirt and jeans. Just real casual. Tommy was too, for that matter, just like a basic button-up shirt. Black pants or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It's just that whole, like, I want to meet Gene Simmons as close as the demon of Kiss, whether he's in costume and makeup or not the businessman Gene Simmons, but that, unfortunately, that's what you get.
Well, I just wonder if when he's at like the horror convention or an expo or whatever, and you might know this, or if someone asks him to take a picture with his tongue out, will he do that? Since he's not in makeup and everything, will he do that still?
I asked him to do that.
And he will do that.
No. What'd he do? He gave me the same stock answer that he always says. And I think you know what that is.
The floor is a little dirty.
Yep. I'm like, really, Gene? Like, come on.
So he would expect you to pay extra for that, maybe?
He probably, in his mind, he's probably thinking, pay the extra money to do a kiss meet and greet, and then I'll stick my tongue out all you want. That's probably what he thinks.
Yeah, you're right.
But, yeah, I mean, that literal, and, yeah, when I look back on it, I'm like, yeah, maybe that's kind of douchey, and I'm sure he hears that all the time, and then here I am, another guy, hey, stick your tongue out. But it would have been cool for the picture, I thought. Whatever.
Did you stick yours out?
No, I was going to if he did, but I just did the thing, like he does.
You should have stuck your tongue in his ear. I bet he would have stuck his tongue out then.
I want to know what love would start playing in the background.
Oh, yeah, we do know he wears those plain-colored shirts based on that video. But
Yeah.
that's under the suit. I mean, I did get his attention when we were in line because he was, goofing off, the way he does, and he kind of backed up and bumped into this light fixture, and he's like, oh, it was a fairly big, gel light, and I was like, better watch out, Gene, you don't want to set your hair on fire again. And he heard me, and he's like, his laugh that he does, joking, laughing about it. And then
Did you have a wet towel just in case?
No. And then, he just does the fist bump thing all the time. He don't shake hands.
To breathe fire or spit blood if he would do that.
I'm gonna have to think of something good.
Here, Gene, I brought some blood capsules. Will you do that?
Oh, it should do is ask him to spit blood, and then when he says that he can't do it without drinking stuff, then just be completely heartbroken, like you just found out there's no Santa, and just, walk out of the expo.
Or lucky for you, and pull out a gallon of fake blood. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come up with something interesting come June.
I think that's good. That's good. Do that.
How about you unblock me on Twitter? Damn it. Yeah, and then like I said, he was spending more time paying attention to my wife than me.
Your boobs aren't big enough. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, that's true.
You need to work on that.
Show him that picture with you with dreads.
Oh my god. I should print that off and have him sign that. Like, what the hell?
You have to post that on our Facebook page. Have you ever thought about, either one of you guys thought about doing an instrumental album? You know how a lot of people do that.
Oh, yeah. I sort of did. I did it was more like an EP, but what it actually was it was a 20-minute song that was separated into 5 parts. And there's one of the songs in the middle has a little bit of background vocals, but everything else is instrumental.
Cool.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do, hell, even if it's just one instrumental song, let alone an album. But
Oh yeah.
I've always tried to get bands to do that. But I'm sure with Bio, that would be a perfect scenario.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We've talked about it. In fact, Nocturnal Images was supposed to be instrumental, and then Chaz ended up coming up with those lyrics, and after he laid down the scratch vocal, we were all like, yeah, do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would definitely be cool.
That's one thing I always liked being a Chimera fan is every album they put out, they would have an instrumental song at the end of the album, and it was always a long, epic thing.
Nice.
I always love listening to those.
Well, you guys could even do that in the tribute band. I mean, there's a couple Kiss instrumentals you could do.
Yeah, Escape from the Island. What else?
Love Theme from Kiss.
Love Theme. Or we could do Acrobat, that version.
You guys do the, and I should know this, but do you do the classic Alive or Alive 2 guitar solos and drum solos? Have you guys ever done that?
Well,
Not really.
I mean,
sort of.
Luke does a variation of the Alive 2 solo. But then
Yeah, because I know that you guys did that in the first show was, I mean, it was sort of like your own, but it was sort of like
there's definitely there's definitely the bits of it in there, and then and like with me, like I kind of like I sort of do a little bit of the Alive 2 solo, but I'm trying to get them to start doing 100,000 Years because I like that solo better on Alive, or the way it goes into it, that whole thing.
Yeah.
Kind of messing with that, but it kind of ends up being the same thing. I just end up kind of messing around doing kind of whatever pops in my head.
Because I know originally Tommy was doing Ace solos, and now he's sort of doing more of his own thing, more so.
And Vinny, he was doing his own thing the whole time.
It's nothing even vaguely recognizable. By the way, this is the updated song list right here.
Holy cow!
Wow,
nice.
It's like 60 or 80 songs or something like that.
I see She.
Yeah.
By the way, I just learned last night that the guitar player from Mr. Mister is the one that plays the solo on Creatures of the Night.
Oh yeah, the Robin Ford.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Never knew that. I was like, really? Mr. Mister?
they were just having anybody do it at that point, weren't they?
Yeah, they have some of the weirdest tie-ins, that and Bryan Adams and Lou Reed, and it's like
Michael Bolton.
Yeah, it's like some of the weirdest off-the-wall tie-ins.
Again, this is another one of those things that I'm relatively sure I read somewhere, but I can't remember where. I feel like I read somewhere that they were having the people that were trying out to replace Ace, or at least some of them, they were just going ahead and their tryout was record a solo on this song for the album we're recording right now. And I think that might be where that Robin Ford thing came from, but I might be wrong.
See, that makes sense because it's kind of the same thing they did when Eric Carr tried out. Like they had him, sing over Shandy and doing a couple like drum covers and You Really Got Me, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that's kind of what their process was when they would audition people then, which is a good idea.
Yeah.
And then some older interview popped up the other day on YouTube of Gene and Paul, and oh my God, they're somebody's asking them about Creatures and if it was mostly Vinny, all that. Nope, it was all Ace. It's all Ace on there. It's like, no. Like they were just trying to sell so much bullshit back then.
Good Lord.
I don't think Creatures can do that.
What's that?
Yeah, I don't think anybody who was a musician, even in those days, could have heard the stuff on Creatures and been like, oh yeah, that's definitely that same guy that they've had all this time.
Yeah, I guess back then it was easier to kind of get away with those kind of lies.
Right.
Unless you were in the studio, in the know, you knew different.
Well, it seems like to me that people didn't really pay attention to anything.
Right, yeah. Back then it seemed more like, when's that new album coming out? Okay, it's coming out, let's get it. That was kind of and then see them in concert.
Right.
But then it got to that point with Kiss, though, from what I hear people saying, that they thought Ace was going to be at those shows because he was promoted to be at the shows.
Well, I think, too, it seemed like it's like that with everything, like Star Wars. When Star Wars first came out, the first one, I mean, it's like, it's just cool. It's different, Star Wars and whatever. But now people could tell you every single thing, like stuff you would have never noticed, and it means this and it means that, and it just seemed like back then nobody. It's not that they didn't care. It's just like it wasn't. It's like everything is analyzed now. I mean, I do that just because that's my nature, but I think everyone does that now, and they didn't used to do that.
Yeah, like, I mean, again, I wasn't old enough back when the first 3 came out, but I don't think and haven't heard that, people were critiquing all 3 of them or, this and that. It was pretty much taking it for what it was, and then they become classics. But nowadays, with all these new ones, you got people like Luke that's always critiquing everything. No,
Dang I like every Star Wars movie until this new one.
But no, I mean, you get people that like hardcore, like the tiniest, things, like some of these diehard Star Wars people. Like, I'm like, okay, it's just a movie. I thought it was Now, as a quick side note, I watched that Justice League movie last night, and it was borderline stupid. I'll admit that.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, number one, Aquaman. They like tried so hard to turn him into some badass, and doesn't look a bit like the character's supposed to look. All of a sudden, he's like this Samoan guy or something. And then there were parts in there where I felt like I was watching a video game because of the CGI. It was just so, like, apparent. But
yeah, that's what I hate the most about a lot of new movies.
Yeah, just too much of that CGI, not enough of the real thing anymore. Not enough filming on location now. Everything's in front of a green screen. It's like that's part of what makes a movie so good is when they were out on location. Like you kind of get that feeling that wherever that location is, it kind of set that mood.
Well, even if they were like filming in a like a field or something, that's better than a green screen.
Right. I mean, look at field.
It's not like accurate. They're supposed to be in Africa, but they're just in like Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're still outside. You know what I mean?
Like I love Forrest Gump, and then I didn't even know until recently that where it was supposed to be Vietnam was actually South Carolina.
Wow. That's a perfect example.
Yeah, some area they found that had all that, vegetation and stuff that looked the way it did, and I mean, look at a movie like Field of Dreams. That pretty much that whole movie is out in the field, and it's like a classic, one of the best movies ever. On location.
What about Children of the Corn? That's in a cornfield.
Children of the Corn. See, the Field of Dreams house, you can go visit that. It's set up to be a tourist place now.
Let's go now.
Yes.
Off we go.
We'll be right back.
We'll just have the CGI come in here like we're flying.
Yeah. Flying like Leia.
Like Dean Simmons on the Phantom.
Who's going to shoot the star laser so we can walk down it? Oh, man. Yeah, so somehow we trailed off into Field of Dreams on this podcast.
Figure that one out.
Is that the whole entire song list?
Yeah, and a lot of those are ones that I just threw on there while I was looking, trying to figure out, oh man, we don't do anything from that album. We don't do anything from that album. No, and I still think there's nothing from any of the solo albums on there, which isn't necessarily a big deal, but...
I love this whole list.
What about Revenge? Okay, you got some stuff from Revenge there. Okay.
And still, like, I was trying to keep it to 17 songs per set, just to limit it so that we're not basically saying we should learn the whole discography, because that's what it's going to come down to.
Right. I see Hate on there.
Yeah. Still, song after song after song that, Savannah would be like, oh, what about God Gave Rock and Roll to You? And I'd be like, oh, man. And all sorts of, there were probably 5 or 6 songs she just rattled off. What about blah, blah, blah? What about blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, yeah, just stop. We're never going to get them all.
Blah, blah, blah is one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
You have to do that one.
Yeah.
I like that Hell or Hallelujah and Modern Day Delilah are on here.
Yeah.
I like the whole list.
Yeah.
Let's do it. that order.
Yes. Every song on the list in that.
Is Sweet Pain on any of your lists?
Yeah. It's on this one here. It's not one that we do now.
Yeah, I brought that up. I was like, you know, it might be cheesy, it might not be, but we should do our namesake song. So.
Right. And Mr. Speed, too. It's not on here, but I've always loved that song.
Yes.
Love that song, yeah.
Yes. Hell, we even messed around with Hard Luck Woman the other day.
We did, yeah.
After practice, Luke just started playing it. We ended up singing the whole thing.
Did you put on the Catman makeup?
Oh, did you tell him about Sam?
Oh, right, yeah. I think we're going to have Sam help us out, too, with songs that have keyboards on them, or if he can imitate a guitar well enough to help fill in some missing parts.
Cool.
Like, he played Beth on the piano, and that sounded really good.
The next question is he behind the curtain, or is he playing one of the characters?
No, he'd be behind the curtain.
Okay, well, if he was in makeup, who would he be?
The character on the Hotter Than Hell cover. Well, guess it's that time, huh?
Trivia.
Trivia.
You need a little intro for our trivia.
This week, me against Luke for the first time. Finally.
All right. Well, the question is, how much do you know about the band Kiss?
Skip.
Nothing.
All right. These are multiple choice because I sort of like multiple choice. I think it works better for everyone.
Yes, I agree.
These have no level of difficulty as far as like hard, easy, or mediocre. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Or over easy.
Over easy. Question 1. What year was Kiss founded? 1969, 1972, 1980, or 1975?
Be 72.
Yep. True story.
I was gonna say 1980.
True story.
What was the name of the band Gene and Paul was in before Kiss? Was it A, Aerosmith, B, Blue Oyster Cult, C, Wicked Lester, or Led Zeppelin?
I'm going to say Wicked Lester.
I'm pretty sure that's right, yes.
Yeah.
Might have to check
It's either
that.
that one or Led Zeppelin. I'm not sure.
It's crazy, but what can you do? What did drummer Eric Carr die of, and what year? A, drug overdose, 1975. B, abducted by aliens from the planet Jindal in 93. C, car accident, 91. Or D, cancer of 91.
Be D, Cancer 91.
Although technically, didn't he die because of an aneurysm?
Yes.
I think that's the final thing, yes.
And I don't know why I sounded so happy saying that. Cancer 91.
Like one of those newscasters. Who was the first member of Kiss to leave? The very first, back in the whenever. A, Ace Frehley, B, Bruce Kulick, C, Eric Singer, or D, Peter Criss?
Peter Criss.
Peta.
Pete Best. Wait,
Yeah, and I should be saying, it's your turn, but I guess you guys are keeping track of that, right?
Well, I was getting ready to say, are we keeping track of score? I'm getting lost. How many questions was that?
So far, we're getting ready to do question 5.
And so we each have 2, right?
Wow.
Deuce.
Yes.
All right.
5. Which band member accidentally set his hair on fire? A, Paul Stanley. B, Ace Frehley. C, Gene Simmons. D, Eric Carr. Or E. Michael Jackson.
Sean Delaney. Gene Simmons.
Yes, it was the Gene. Question 6.
Not business Gene.
Right.
The demon Gene.
Acting. Question 6. What's the name of the movie Kiss made in 1978? A. Detroit Rock City. B. Exposed. C. Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. Or D. Crazy Nights.
Better use a skip.
Yeah, I feel like there's a podcast called something similar to the answer to this, but I sure can't remember what it is.
The Crazy Nights podcast?
Yeah.
I think it's Crazy Nights.
Yeah, Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park.
I believe that's right. Might have to check that, but I'm pretty sure.
He built this park and I run it.
And I'm his assistant.
Rock rollers don't bathe. Question 7. What year did the band release solo albums? A. 1978, B. 1995, C. 1986, or D. They never did solo albums?
Well, some people would argue that's the answer, but it's 1978.
1978.
Because some people will say, no, those are Kiss albums, not solo albums.
Right. That's true. They would because of the logo and such. I think they did that so they could sell more albums, because if they weren't cohesive like that, I mean, people wouldn't have bought all 4 of them.
No.
Potentially.
There was probably people out there that if it didn't have the Kiss logo, they'd have had no idea who that was.
Yeah.
Who's Ace Frehley? Or Freely.
Freely. All right, question 8. In the box set, each CD has band members on the covers,
Ooh.
or on 5 CDs. Whose face is on the 5th? A. Eric Carr, B. Eric Singer, C. Bruce Kulick, D. the 4 original members.
I'm relatively sure it's the 4 original members.
On disc 5?
Yeah.
Well, here it says Eric Carr.
Oh, okay. I was picturing that amalgamation of the makeups on the one face, but
You would think it would be that.
yeah.
Let's see, where we at? Question 9. What is Ace Frehley's real name? A. Ace Frehley. B. Ace Smith. C. Robert Frehley. D. Paul Frehley.
Paul Frehley.
Paul Frehley. The more you say Frehley, the dumber it sounds. Especially the way I say it. Question 10. What are the 4 original characters of Kiss? A. The Demon, Star Child, Space Ace, and the Cat. B. The Cat, Space Ace, the Demon, and the Fox. C. The Demon, the Star Child, Space Ace, and the Fox. D. The Cat, the Fox, Space Ace, and the Star Child.
Jeez.
A. A. The Demon, Star Child, Space Ace, Cat.
A?
Hey.
Hey, what's up? All right, that's the first 10.
Okay, let me pause then.
Well,
Are you ready?
I got it ready.
Piss. Calm down. Hold on a second.
Ready.
I got it ready.
Piss. Calm down. Hold on a second.
Boy, he can bark loud for a little dog.
Come here. Come here.
Pippi.
I don't know if Sam just like pounded up the stairs or if he fell down them.
He doesn't even check either. He's like, oh, he might have fell down the stairs.
That's what I went and looked, but there's nobody out there, so I don't know what happened.
What if he went all the way down and out into the floor? He rolled all the way out to the floor.
He'll live, probably.
All right. These are, well, they look like they're a lot harder to me.
That's what she said.
Yeah, it happens.
So
Question.
we're on
This,
me?
well, this would be on question 11, so.
Yeah. You're the odds and I'm the evens.
I am on.
What is the seventh song? What is the seventh song on the Love Gun album? A. Hooligan. B. Got Love for Sale. C. Shock Me. D. Plaster Caster. Or E. Almost Human.
Almost Human.
Nope.
Damn it.
It's
I knew.
Hooligan.
Question 12.
No point though.
Right. Yeah. Obviously, because I just looked at the.
How long is the song Shock Me? A. 5 minutes and 22 seconds. B. 6 minutes and 43 seconds. C. 3 minutes and 11 seconds. D. 2 minutes and 54 seconds. Or E. 3 minutes and 46 seconds.
Why 5 answers?
And we're talking the album version?
It doesn't specify, so I'm assuming that's what they mean.
Wow.
Good lord.
Steve,
Okay. I'm gonna say 311.
have to Google it. That's fine. You get to Google your own answer.
Yeah. Let me look. Okay, according to Wikipedia, it's 349.
That is incorrect. According to Discogs, it's 417.
Well, geez, neither one of those were answers.
Right. So I don't know. Whoever's the closest.
No, that's fine.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Or skip whatever you want to
we're not. Yeah.
do. Question 13. What year did Alive 2 get released? A. 1977. B. 1995. C. 1979. D. 1974. Or E. 1981.
77.
Correct. It didn't say the reissue or the remaster, so I'm assuming it meant the original date.
Right.
Question 14. What song is this? It said you were smiling when you blew your mind. A. Beth. B. Shout It Out Loud. C. Unholy. D. Childhood's End. Or E. Psycho Circus.
Childhood's End.
That'd be it. I do know that answer.
I didn't either.
I'm usually kind of bad at those lyrics ones, but that one I recognize.
Question 15. What year did they have their Unplugged tour? They're talking about Kiss still. A. 2000. B. 1989. C. 1994. D. 1995. Or E. 1998.
95.
95, yes. So some of these answers I know and some I don't. Question 16. What city did Kiss play their first filmed show? A. Queens, New York. B. New York, New York. C. Denver, Colorado. D. Las Vegas, Nevada. Or E. Dallas, Texas.
Interesting. I'm going to say Queens, New York.
Probably Queens, yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. Question 17. What year did Kiss visit Cadillac, Michigan? A. 1975. B. 1994. C. 2000. D. 1986. Or E. 1977.
75.
Yes. And do you know, this is a bonus answer, do you know what date?
Yeah, it was sometime in September, wasn't it?
It was on my birthday, October 9th.
Ah,
Wow.
so I was gonna say, I'm like, well, I knew it was during football season, so I was trying to think of one of those months.
I would have said it was cold, but I wouldn't have had any further idea than that.
I'd like to go to Cadillac, Michigan. You don't hear people ever going up there, because it's Kiss related.
Yeah, now they have a big like slab that they put up in front of the field to commemorate that, and it's got a picture of Kiss on it and everything.
Cool.
That'd be cool to see.
All right. Question 18. Who produced Destroyer? A. Mark St. John. B. Gene Simmons. C. Alex Coletti. D. Bob Ezrin. Or E. Vinnie Vincent?
Bob Ezrin.
Bob Ezrin's right.
We got a toy game.
Question 19. Who was the only member with blonde hair? A. Mark St. John. B. Ace Frehley. C. Bruce Kulick. D. Peter Criss. E. Eric Singer.
Wow. Eric Singer and Peter Criss.
Yeah. Kind of poorly.
Is the correct answer. Although, that could be the same thing, really.
Both of them have had both, technically.
Yeah. Well, at the same time.
Yeah.
I never thought about that, but yeah. Question 20. Name this song. Lyric. I feel like I'm being pulled into a black hole. A. Psycho Circus. B. Black Diamond. C. Talk to Me. D. Got Thunder. Or E. Into the Void.
Into the Void.
Into the Void. Will that be 20 questions? Is that enough? Or do you want some more?
Well, go for more if you want.
Go for.
So it's a toy game.
All right.
Yeah. What are we at now, out of curiosity?
9-8.
All right. So this will be question 21. Who replaced Ace Frehley? A. Mark St. John. B. Vinnie Vincent. C. Bruce Kulick.
Vinnie Vincent.
Yep. I was going to say Peter Criss, but that would be. Question 22. What artist did not appear on Gene Simmons' solo album in 1978? A. Joe Perry. B. Cher. C. Bob Seger. Or D. Steven Tyler.
I would say Steven Tyler.
That's right. Question 23. Which guitarist has not appeared on any Kiss... Wait a minute. Which guitarist has not appeared on any of... Where's the rest of the question, man?
Rick Derringer.
Probably because I can't read the rest of the question. It's cut off. Has not appeared on any other? Can't be right. I don't know what it says. I'll skip it.
All right. It was Rick
So
Derringer.
this is, yeah. So the next question.
Might have been Iced Earth.
That's probably who it was. What was the first album they did Kiss did without makeup? A. Unmasked. B. Creatures of the Night. C. Lick It Up. Or D. The Black Album.
Duh, Unmasked. No, Lick It Up.
That's it. Which artist did not appear on the Kiss My Ass album? A. Stevie Wonder. B. Garth Brooks. I didn't say Hey Siri. C. Lenny Kravitz. D. Poison. E. Anthrax.
I don't think Siri was on there either.
What was the first one?
Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, that one.
He was actually on there. He played harmonica on Deuce with Lenny Kravitz.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So I guess the answer would be... The answer is technically jacked up because it says Poison or Anthrax. I mean, Poison did a Kiss song, but not on Kiss My Ass. Anthrax... Was it the Anthrax song actually on there?
Yeah, She.
Okay, so... What was it then?
That's where I got confused. I didn't realize that Poison song wasn't on there.
Wow.
All right. Next question. Who co-wrote Forever with Paul Stanley? A. Cher, B. Richard Marx, C. Bryan Adams, D. John Mellencamp, or E. Michael Bolton?
Michael Bolton.
I'm pretty sure it was Michael Bolton. Yes.
Yep. Indeed.
Although I think they've wrote songs with everyone except John Minstrel Cramp. I don't know if they've wrote with Cher, but I know she's played on some stuff with Gene. She's played with Gene.
Well, she plays drums on Psycho Circus.
Thought that was Sheila E. Next question. Who has not been romantically linked to Gene Simmons? A. Diana Ross, B. Cher, C. Shannon Tweed, D. Katie Seagal, or E. Mark St. John?
Well, both of those last two.
I added that one to confuse you.
That's
Katie
awesome.
Seagal, yeah.
Well, I mean, he might have been with Mark St. John. Who knows?
I mean, we haven't seen that video yet.
That's true.
Next question. How many Alive albums has Kiss done? A, 3, B, 5, C, 4, D, 2, E, 1.
4.
Bingo. Yes, I think that'd be right. Well, actually, if you're counting Alive records, I mean, I don't think Vegas counts, right?
No, if they're going for the ones actually called Alive, it's 4.
Because technically you could count the Millennium Concert almost too, but yeah,
Right.
if they're only talking about the ones called Alive,
Right.
yeah.
Next question. Which is not a name that Gene Simmons has went by? A, Chaim Witz, D or B, Gene Klein, C, Gene Simmons, or G, Gene Whiz?
Gene Whiz. That's good. And you forgot to add the on.
I never can do that right without sitting on my. Question 10, or I guess question 94, whatever we're on. Who is the only one to appear on the cover of... Really? How's that even make sense?
I never heard of that magazine.
Well, I'm assuming it's talking about their solo albums. That wouldn't make sense. Who's the only one to appear on the cover of their solo albums, and then it has each one of their names?
What?
How's that relevant?
That makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. Next question. Who replaced Vinnie Vincent? A, Mark St. John, B, Bruce Kulick, C, Tommy Thayer, D, Ace Frehley, or E, Michael Bolton?
Mark St. John.
Next question. Who is the only member... Well, this is not accurate either. When this question was asked, but there's two answers to this one. There should only be one at the time. It says who is the only member of Kiss to pass away. I mean, just don't count. It says A, Vinnie Vincent, B, Mark St. John, or C, Eric Carr.
Right. Well, Eric Carr and Mark St. John have both passed.
Yeah.
I guess Eric would be the technical.
See, that's weird because they have Mark St. John as the answer. It's like Eric Carr passed away before Mark St. John, right?
Right.
For,
So they're jacked up there.
Well, wouldn't the real answer be Joseph Kiss Sr.?
I would think that he probably would have passed away before any of the rest of them, yeah.
Right.
Or even Sean Delaney.
Yeah. Or no, he died after Eric, right?
Did he?
Pretty sure.
I'm not sure.
It was like early 2000s, I believe, wasn't it?
Was it?
2003 or something like that.
And Bill LaCoin's died now too, hasn't he?
Yeah, that was within 5 years, 5-6 years.
That
It
wasn't
hasn't been, it hasn't been very long.
And then Larry Harris just passed away. So
Next question. Which rapper did Kiss appear with on their first appearance without or with makeup after they were reunited? A. Tupac. B. Notorious B.I.G. C. Ice-T. D. Ice Cube. E. Coolio.
or F. Iced Earth.
Yeah.
Tupac.
That'd be it.
These my homeboys now. I
And you
seen
ain't seen
just about
nothing yet.
everything. We need to shock the people.
The
What?
last question I got. You want it to be the last question?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. On which talk show did Kiss appear? Oh, wait a minute. Okay. On which talk show did Kiss appear on? And that ain't worded right. Yeah. I can't do right. As it says, on which talk show did they appear on with, and then it's cut off and it says perform together. The answers are Jay Leno, David Letterman, Conan O'Brien, Craig Kilborn, and Carson Daly. How's that make any sense?
I'm assuming the answer is Conan O'Brien.
Let's do one more question just to be
Okay.
real question. Now that's true or false. Let's do a multiple choice. All right, last question. What is Paul Stanley's real name?
Stanley Eisen. I got you.
That's
Stanley.
it.
Yeah.
All right. Final score 15-13.
Well, at least I didn't get stomped so bad.
Yes.
Some of those questions were easy and some weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah. That Stevie Wonder thing almost blew my mind.
Yeah, I had no idea. That was a nice trick question.
I just wonder if they were in the studio together at the same time or if he was added, separately.
What if they just like record him behind a dumpster or something? Like, he how would he know? And he was different. I mean,
He might have smelled that.
I smell a deuce.
I can smell it.
I smell a deuce. Yeah, that's the song we're doing. No, I smell it.
That was fishy.
Well, next week, me against Branton. See if Branton gets his title back next
Yeah.
week. Should get like an actual belt made up.
Yeah.
Start passing it around.
Oh, yeah.
Like a Kiss Army belt or something.
Yep.
Actually, a belt with like a tongue on it.
and the cod piece.
Yeah, a belt has a codpiece built into it.
Oh my god. Well, according to a interview Gene did back in October, he says, I will not be selling this in physical or virtual stores. There is no download, nothing of this bullshit. This is a work of art of which I am very proud, and on my own, I will fly the world and deliver personally to those who buy.
Well, you better be buying it then.
Like I say, mark my words, it's going to pop up. I'm talking about the vault.
Oh,
Yeah, if he's uncovered some way to make it impossible to down or upload that stuff to YouTube, then I'd like him to share the secret.
Yes. Yeah, they could pull down video after video, but there's always going to be that person that gets ahead and finds a way to make it untraceable.
Yeah.
just saw a clip where Paul says his favorite guitarist was in Kiss. Who do you think? Who do you think he says?
It's himself.
No.
Oh man, I don't know. If it's something that you gotta guess, then it's not what anybody would expect. Man, I'd probably say Bruce then.
No.
Gene Simmons.
Tommy.
Really?
Yeah.
He said, because Chris Jericho asked him, like, would you ever play with Bruce again or have him come on stage? He's like, I really don't know. He's like, I've never been happier than what I am now playing with Tommy.
Oh.
That's a pretty good compliment to Tommy, then, ain't it?
Yeah. That's going to wrap it up for this week's show. I guess we should close this thing off. Keeps rolling. All right, so everyone comment, like, subscribe to the page, and share the Facebook channel or the page. Yeah. Anybody want to close out with anything real quick or no?
Well, all I have to say is stop using sex as a weapon.
Yes. Stop trying to blackmail celebrities out of money.
Unless they're your friend.
To be continued. All right, everyone. We will see you next week. Thanks for watching.